Originally, I was gonna do this video for my wrap up for August because I didn't read that many books. In August, I only read like 3 books and DNF'd one. But then my mom called me downstairs because she always makes me breakfast because I live at home, so I'm lucky enough to get a mom who makes really good breakfast. So I'm going to do my current reading update now. And if this video, and if I have time, then maybe I will do a bit of an August into the first week of September book haul. I mean, the week isn't over, but I did buy a couple books in the last couple days, so I'll show those as well. If I have time. If this video gets too long, then I will make it a separate video. Okay, so, currently I am I started reading this because I feel like I have a problem where I won't read the next book in a series right away. So, I mean, I know I have that problem. It's not that I feel I have that problem, I know I have that problem. So I've been trying to avoid that, because then if I wait too long to read the next book, then I forget things. I think part of that problem is that I don't always get the next book in a series right away. So I don't like reading, and oftentimes I don't like reading that book before it right away until I get the next book, because I don't know how long it will be. And I actually, some of the books in this book haul are books that I haven't, like I only had the first book of the series, because they're a new series, which reminds me, I think I want to do a video where I talk about books that I've been inspired to get because of certain booktubers. So I will do that. I might do that today, or I might do that later. I don't know. But I started this one. I'm not very far into it. I'm on, I think, part 2 of the book. I can't really say much because I don't know who's read the first book, Mistborn: The Final Empire. But this is the continuation and is basically about the consequences of how the first book ended and the aftermath of that and how the characters are dealing with that situation. And it looks like it's not going too well for these characters. They really have to figure out how to handle the situation and what to do next, and it's proving to be very difficult and not as easy as they expected. But it's good so far. I've also been putting a little bit more of a damp in this one, Roses. This was one of the books that if you watched my best friend picks my TBR video, this is one of the books that she picked, which I already had started this book. And so that's why I'm very far in this book, and there's not a lot that I have to read left. I mean, there's a good chunk left, but the chapters are very brief, and it's large print, which really helps, makes it a little bit easier to read a book this long when it's large print. But I'm still going to continue buying mass market paperbacks because I can take them with me places. It's, easier to travel with them. Not that this one, hardback is the hardest to travel with, though, because it's big and heavy. So you can't bring as many books unless you don't mind a big and heavy bag to carry all your books in. And then, when you're traveling across the ocean, well, that you can't bring as much with you. But, which that's going to happen next summer. Because next summer we might be going on a cruise. So I don't know if we're going to drive down to Florida to pick up the boat, or if we're going to fly down there. But we might end up flying because it's still long compared to the length it would take us if we drove from where we used to live. But anyway, so in this book, it's a family saga. It's compared to Gone with the Wind, actually. I think that's because, it's set in Texas and about a Texas family. But this one centers around a family, the Tolvers, and they have this big cotton plantation, and there's a curse on the plantation that the family members that become kind of the owner and the heir to the land, they become obsessed with it and devote their whole time to it. And it kind of ruins their relationships beyond this land. I mean, like their human relationships. And in the beginning, like, you get multiple perspectives. You get the main, you get Mary Tolver, who had, in her father's will, he gives her the land instead of giving it to her mom so that she could sell it. And that creates a rift between Mary, her mom, and her brother, which is very tragic. I feel it's a really sad situation. But it also creates a rift between her and the man that she grew up with, that loves her, Percy Warwick. And he wants her to be devoted to him, mostly to him. He loves her and wants to marry her, but he doesn't want to become second to the plantation. And it gets between them and drives this rift between them, as it did with her brother and her mom. Between Mary, her brother, and her mom. And it really complicates their relationship, and they fail to, and they lose the chance to be together, and that results in these consequences that continue on into the next generation. And then eventually, her niece, Rachel, is in danger of becoming like her grandmother, Mary, because she also has the green thumb, so to speak, and wants to run the plantation. I think it's her granddaughter, or it's her grandniece. It might be her grandniece, I don't know. Yeah, actually it's her grandniece, I think, not her granddaughter. And she is basically in danger of becoming like her, and we get her perspective, which is currently the section I'm on, but we also, before that, we got Percy's perspective, and seeing how he's dealing with the consequences of how he gave Mary an ultimatum, and she couldn't fulfill that ultimatum because she couldn't let go of the plantation. And Mary, as an old woman, and this is not a spoiler because this is in the beginning of the book, that Mary has gone to her lawyer and is kind of taking Rachel out of the will and not going to inherit the Tolver plantation because she's afraid, Mary will end up, or Rachel will make the same mistakes that Mary did. And that's in the beginning of the book, so that's not really a spoiler. It's not in the summary, but it's in the first few chapters of the book. And it's based, what it's about is how these characters got to this place in the story. It's not about the mystery and how things end up. It's about the journey to how things end up in the story. And like I said, it's a family saga. It's a beautiful story if you like this kind of stuff. I know not everybody likes these kinds of books, but I find that I love family stories about family dysfunctional families and family sagas, like This Is Where I Leave You. I recently bought The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, which is also about a dysfunctional family, particularly the relationship between a mother and a daughter. And I want to read that one. Yeah, I should have read that one back in May. That would be perfect for Mother's Day. Gone with the Wind, I feel like Gone with the Wind is more about the war and about the relationship between Scarlett, Rhett, and Ashley. So that one I wouldn't necessarily call it a family saga. But it is still a saga. Anyway, but I'm not, like I said, I'm only on Rachel's chapter where we're kind of learning about her becoming just like her great aunt and how it impacts her relationship with her own mother. Because her mother's a little bitter and resentful towards Mary. So I'm also reading that. And then I also have some, I'm also reading this one, Never Night. I took a break from it for a few weeks because I decided to start using the library again. So I've been, I got like 6 books from the library 2 weeks ago, and I was trying to get at least one book done so that I can actually return something, because I don't want to have to recheck out 6 books. I want to be able to return at least one, preferably 2, but I don't know if I'll get a second one done. another one done before the 8th. And I kind of want to get it done before, and the 8th is a Saturday, but I kind of want to go before Saturday, because I believe with the way our town works is a lot of places close early in this town, or at least in our part of the town, not like the town beyond, but our little town, Pinehurst, a lot of places close early, including the library on Saturday. It closes a little bit early, and then I think it's closed completely, along with the used bookstore on Sundays, because that's the day of rest. And this is North Carolina, so they're big on the whole, religion and going to church and God and stuff. So I'm trying to get my books done by at least, ideally, I would love to get another book done by Saturday, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I'm going to try, although what I might do is just, not the next book I'm reading from the library, I might not even continue it, and just maybe one day I'll look for it at the bookstore, because that's a book that I would want to take my time with it. I don't like being rushed. And again, as I said in the previous video, I am well aware that yes, I could just keep rechecking out the books, but eventually, I can't keep doing that. And I also don't like doing that. It bothers me. And I want to be able to return at least one book on the original day they were due back. I mean, I know not everybody gets that, and everyone probably thinks it's silly, but to me, it bothers me that I have to keep checking out books, and that I can't return at least one of the books I originally checked out. It just bothers me. I can't explain it. It's hard to explain. But anyway, so I'll get to the library books in a minute. But I'm also reading Nevernight by J. Kristol. I finally got around to it, and like I said, if I have time in this video, if this video doesn't get too long, although it probably will because I'm rambling as usual, I'll show one of the books I got this month is the sequel to this book. But Pierre Fort constantly talks about how much he loves this book, this series. Her and there are other booktubers as well, like Pages and Pens has just currently read this book and finished it, and she just fell in love with this book as much as as Pierre Fort did. So I decided to go ahead and get it and buy it, and I finally bought it and started reading it. Actually, in fact, Pierre Fort, I think she's working on a movie, trying to get a movie adapted for the screen as well, which would be really cool, because if she was successful, then she could be someone it would be like, ooh, I sort of know her. I've watched her on the internet. It's kind of like, it's like when you go to a convention and you meet an actor from a TV show, even if you get, although I met that person in person, where Pierre Fort, I don't know in person, but it would be still kind of cool to be like, if this makes it to the screen, kind of cool to be like, ooh, I watched that happen. I know I watched the person that was doing that. Like, she's someone I follow on BookTube on the internet. I mean, even before. So it's just, a better comparison is probably to say, oh, I read, the Hunger Games before the movies were even thought about. But anyway, so I finally got around to buying this, and so far I really like it. It's I feel like I need to be able to read it without stopping as much and focus only on this book to get really into it. Not that I'm not into it, I do really enjoy it. And I love this first sentence of this book. Where is that first sentence? There's a map in this one, and there's kind of two maps, but it just might be an extension of the other map. Yeah, which is really cool. People often shit themselves when they die. I love that, and how this first part she's talking about how people will shit themselves, and people don't talk about that part. They don't point out how someone will probably stink when they're taking their last dying breath, and no person really reacts to that. But I do like how she's very blunt and honest and has no hesitation at killing people, and it's focused more on her being an assassin than her being her emotional and her having a relationship with this male character Trick or something like that. And I have mixed feelings about the footnotes. Like, I can understand why people don't like the footnotes, and it does kind of take away from the story. And where there might be a footnote, you want to go back and read what the footnote says, but it might be in the middle of a sentence or in the middle of the page, so it kind of throws you off a little bit. And you could technically just not read those. You can ignore them and dismiss them. I like reading them because I feel like, give some information about this world and stuff. And it does, although I feel like I really don't take it all in when I read it because it's so much. But I'm cool with it, and this is not the only book that has a footnote. This is not the only series that's going to have footnotes. I'm also, it is the only series, but this is not the first book that I've come across that the author is trying the whole footnotes thing, and that is in Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. He also, Susanna Clark also puts footnotes in there and writes it kind of like. It's kind of like reading a textbook, not in a boring way, but the footnotes make me think of a textbook. So I am enjoying this. I feel like I haven't got a chance to I haven't read it completely straight through to take my time with it, to really absorb it all. So I think what I might do is when I finish all 6 of these books from the library, then I'll wait a little while before. And what I might have to do is not actually go inside the library and just put them through the slot outside the door. Although I don't know if you can do that, because I think if they're actually there, then what's the point of doing that? Why not go in? The problem is then you go in and you see all these books and you want to check out another book. Just like going to the bookstore. You almost can't go to the bookstore. I mean, I'm sure not everybody used that. So, the other book I'm currently reading, here's one of the library books I'm currently reading, and that is The Natural History of Dragons, which is, I think it's a series, actually, about this famous woman, what is her first name? Isabella, and she is fascinated with dragons. And this is it's technically historical fiction with fantasy mixed. It kind of reminds me of, I'm trying to think, the Tooth and Claw is the first book. I don't know what the whole series is called, but Jean from Bookish Thoughts talks about the series where there's dragons in the Napoleonic War. But it's still set in a historical period, just adding dragons into the mix. And that's, I think, what this book does. Like, you have a real historical setting, but with dragons. And it's this woman, Isabella's memoir of her experience with dragons. And I guess she marries more than once. Because I kind of cheated and read that to the end. Read the last couple pages. And I think that, her husband in this book dies eventually. I don't know if I read that, but I have a problem. I end up looking back and kind of cheating. But so far, it's good. It's interesting. But again, I feel like it's a book that, I want to take my time and not feel pressured to get it done within 2 weeks. And again, like I said, I could just check it out, but it just bothers me and I can't explain it. But I don't like having to do that, having to recheck out these books. It makes me feel guilty. But, it's good, and the chapters are not that long. I mean, some are a little bit longer than others, and it's probably not everybody's cup of tea with the way it's written. The writing style, it can probably be perceived as a little boring, because it's kind of written like someone's journal. You're reading someone's journal from, the 1800s or something, or 1700s. So it's kind of not always, and it's kind of the same writing style, because I have read a little bit of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I've read a little bit of that, and the writing is very similar to that. But it's shorter, obviously, than that book. But, I do want to continue reading it. Like I said, maybe one day I'll just go ahead and buy it. I don't know, but so far it's good. And that's one of the library books. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you this next one. It's Allie Smith's Winter. This is a book, I read Autumn, I really liked it, but I did donate to the bookstore because I don't know if I'll ever read it again. I mean, I enjoy it. That does not mean I didn't like it. It just, I'm trying to make room, and I don't have all the shelf space, and I can't afford to buy another shelf. At least not right now. Maybe one day, maybe if I ever get my own place. But, this is her second book. It's kind of it's a seasonal quartet where she writes a book based in each season. Winter, that was Autumn, and it is written in stream of consciousness format. So I'm hoping this is a book I can get done in a day or 2 days. I don't know if that will happen, but I'm going to try. Because I'm thinking, oh, the chapters, they're not that long, and they're stream of consciousness writing style. So I don't know. I mean, I did watch Jen from Insert Literary Pun reviewing this, but I don't remember the things that she said. I do remember that she says it's ooh, this person's sorry, I have Supernatural on, but I put it on mute so you guys don't hear it in my video. But it's the episode, if you're a fan of Supernatural, the TV show, it's the episode where they go to heaven, where the boys are in heaven and Zachariah is chasing them. And currently, this is the scene where he uses their mom as a puppet. And turns into something really pervy to persuade them otherwise to cooperate with him. And, like, they're trying to find the angel Joshua. But anyway, it has something to do with my books. So, I'm hoping I might read this one next. I also have the other 3 books I got from the library are Mr. Penumbras 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. I figured it's about a bookstore and a bookstore owner and stuff. I thought that was, I mean, how can I turn down that? I still have the Paris Bookshop to read, which is my book. So I'm going to read that one at some point. But anyway, yeah, this, from what I know, what I've read, this guy gets a job at this bookstore, and he realizes this is a very special, very unique bookstore, and that only a select group of people come to this bookstore, and they're very selective of the books they read. Something weird. I'm guessing magical realism is involved in this story. I don't know, maybe it's full of, but bookstore, 24-hour bookstore, and I mean, that has got to be something, magical, whimsical, and who would love that? I really loved Circe. So, they just met Joshua. So the episode, I guess, is almost over. And I really loved it, so I've been wanting to read Song of Achilles, and then I just saw this at the bookstore, and, if I really like it, then maybe I'll just go ahead and buy it. But, this is the whole Battle of Troy, and between Troy and everything from perspective of a lover of Patroclus. Achilles is, I think his lover, because there is LGBTQ representation in this book. So I wanted to read this one, and what's great is this one is a book that has this book actually has these 2 books both had those special pages, I can't think of the word, Um, those pages. Why are they use pages? That look like old pages. Deckled pages. Deckled pages. So, and when I was doing the bingo card, that was one of the. And I'm actually still using that bingo card and marking it off, even though August is over and it was just for the month of August. I'm still gonna use it because I have this weird thing where I like to mark off, check off what I've read. Write it out, have it document on a list or something, and then be able to erase it to show that I've done this. Which I guess that's kind of what Goodreads is part, and that's part of one of the things that you can do on Goodreads. But I also like doing it in my own separate thing, So I'm looking forward to reading this. And I also finally got around to this one. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I have heard, if I recall, I've heard mixed feelings about this. And it's much more dark with the fairies. It's definitely not like Sarah J. Maas type of fairies. I think it's a lot closer to the original Fae lore, like Celtic mythology and stuff like that. So it's a lot darker, and not everybody was too keen on the Fae, especially the main Fae prince, and it's very dysfunctional. But as long as you know what you're getting into and are prepared for, this is very dark fantasy. I mean, really dark. Like how this starts is these sisters, their parents get killed. Their mom had an affair with a fairy, and her daughter, and then that child and her siblings, her sisters, get taken to the fairy realm, and the parents are killed. So that's how the story starts. And so it's a very dark story, and as long as you know what you're getting into, I think you'll be okay. So I'm definitely interested to decide, do I like that book? Okay, so I am gonna do my August into September book haul in a separate video because this is kind of long. And so I will talk to you guys later. If you like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up and click subscribe. And I hope you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you all later, as I said. Alright, bye!